Hello, hello, hello. What?
No, I don't hear. He doesn't talk to me. And who
good
better
evening.
to help us? Hello and welcome to Breakdown Studio Live with Grandmaster Ernesto Inarkiev
and woman Grandmaster Dina Belenkaya.
You've made the right move by joining us.
After the race day, the candidate tournament is back with round 11. That means the race gets tighter.
And here is how the two favorites of the tournament spent their day off.
By the way, Jan and Fabiana was the first who joined the press conference because they made a quick draw. So let's see what they said afterward.
Jan and Fabiano, how did you spend your yesterday day off, and how is your mood after that?
So I guess I answered in Russian, yeah? Ну, как я вчера спал, ел, готовился, вот, и все приперто.
Yesterday I slept, prepared for my game and ate.
Yeah, we watched a movie. It was a horrible movie.
Я смотрел фильм, это был ужасный фильм.
Like 2 years ago, on the rest day, we watched a good movie, and this time it was a really bad movie. But I guess, what can you do?
Yeah, by the way, they were first who joined the press conference and was shared with us how they really spent a rest day. And this was a quick draw. This was a strategical decision for the tournament, more about thinking how many points Jan already got and what is the best to fix this result or to try to play a chess game. What about other games for today?
Let's take a quick look at the rest of the games played today.
Yes, so the next game was KIRILL ALEKSEENKO against Chinese Grandmaster Wang Hao. This was a very interesting game from the opening. KIRILL stick to his favorite Italian game, and Wang Hao tried very aggressive approach with black. He started g5 in the opening, and the game was very unbalanced. But finally, after a long fight, the game finished in a draw. Another game of today is GRISCHUK Vashay Lagrave. This was a very sharp game, which Alexander finally won. And this is a very interesting and exciting game. We will discuss later on, more deep.
Which also changed the flow of the tournament.
Yes, now Alexander is getting the fourth position.
And for Maxim, it gets super hard to take on Jan Nepomucci.
Yes, Maxim now is very far. He lost 2 games in the 4 rounds, and also I believe this is very difficult for him psychologically. He didn't win a single game yet, so very hard time for Maxim.
Especially after having been a leader. Yes, totally agree with you. And the last game for today was Anish Giri versus Ding Liren.
Yes, and this is the game of the day. This was a really brilliant game from both players. And let's not waste more time and go straight to this game.
And who better to help us break it down than our special guest of today, the winner of the Candidates Tournament in 2011, Grandmaster Boris Gelfand. Boris, hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, Boris.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. It's mine.
Yes, it's
good to see you.
It's a big privilege to have you here. So, what game impressed you the most from today's round, or maybe from overall the tournament of this year? What game impressed you the most?
Today we had 2 really brilliant games. One, but I think it's normal that in second half of the tournament players take more risks, because if you're in the middle of the table, you still need to try your chance to win, because the difference between first and second place is much higher than the difference between second and eighth. So actually, in those rounds which take place now, we will see more open games, because I think all the players will try to catch up with Jan Nepomniachtchi and take all the risks possible to try their chances.
What do you think about game Jan Nepomniachtchi against Fabiano Caruana today's? Is it in favor of Jan, or was it the right choice for him to control too tight Fabiana and just to make a draw with
I don't know. It depends on your attitude to chess, because okay, 1 point it's a big difference, a big advantage over Fabiano, but still it's Fabiano has 2 whites in last 3 rounds. Jan has only 1 white. So I think Fabiano has a fair chance to catch up. Also Anish won today. He is close. Also he has to win back 1 point, because he cannot tie with Jan. But also it depends on your attitude. If you are happy to play like this and you feel comfortable with yourself, it's fine. If you feel horrible, okay, what I'm doing, yeah, okay, I don't even try, then okay, you maybe it's a wrong solution. But I think Jan is confident, took this solution, he is confident in it. So let's see in next Tuesday, we'll see if it was right solution or not.
Okay. So
And yeah, go on.
yes, I already wanted to go to the game of the day for today, because Jan, of course, is a sole leader, but I think Anish Giri is also playing very well in the second part of this event, and I think it is time already go to today's game. So
Yes, let's have a look.
so it was e4, e5. It was quite predictable that Dean Clearan will continue to play the same lines that he usually played. Ray Lopez is now his main opening choice. But Anish prepared surprise. I don't think this is a very big surprise, but this is very sideline. It's not very popular on the top level. It looks like White wasted the tempo, played bishop a4 first, and take on c6 only on the next move. This looks like a senseless decision, but the point of this decision that now black bishop already on e7 and white made a castle. So compared to the usual lines when white take on c6 immediately, black already have the bishop on e7 and white already made a castle. So this is a bit different position, and I think that the main point of such line, I always was thinking like that just to confuse the black player. Because it looks like it's not really dangerous for black, but it is different. It's different from what the black player usually prepared.
What do you think about it, Boris? Do you agree with
Well,
this
I'm not a Roy Lopez player, but I remember from childhood that this was considered innocent, but move bishop d6 really surprised me. I think knight d7 is considered by theory the main line, but probably, you know, things are changing. I think all players, especially top players, has a possibility now to analyze this line with very powerful engines, powerful computers. So probably engine doesn't support knight d7, but supports bishop d6. So it determined choice of Dean Clearan. Probably this was a reason.
Yes, engines indeed shows that both moves is similar, but I always liked the idea which was showed for me by my coach Mark Dvoretsky. He explained me in a similar situation that the best square for this knight is d4 square. So I liked very much this maneuver, starting with knight d7, then knight f8 at some moment, then knight e6, and coming to d4. This is, of course, dreaming idea, but knight d7 is generally more natural way of playing this position for me also. Okay, so after
Yeah,
bishop...
but probably white will not allow you to lend
Yes, this is a problem,
before.
yes.
I'm sure Anish had something prepared, yeah,
Yes.
to at least to put some problems to his opponent, yeah.
I think this is one of the part of the chess fight, the fight of the opening preparation, is trying to surprise the opening first. Definitely, Dean Clearen understand that if Anish choose this line, then he had prepared something against knight d7. So it makes sense to play to surprise first, to play bishop d6. Don't give him to show his preparation. Okay, so after...
Yes, but I think Anish was also well prepared. When I watched the game, I paid attention that Anish played pretty quickly. So I'm sure he has post knight d7 and bishop d6.
Yes, he was prepared. I like very much what he did with this maneuver of the knight. Immediately he went for knight a5, and this is quite unpleasant situation for black. The knight is pressing the queen side. Even if nothing happening right now, it's always unpleasant psychologically, because there is like enemy soldier is watching for you all the time, very close to your king. It's just unpleasant. You have to always be ready that something can happen. So this knight a5 is quite unpleasant piece, in my opinion. Long castle is very logical. All these moves was more or less logical for me. Bishop g4 is a very ambitious and logical idea. Black want to provoke the weaknesses of the white's king side. So this pin is quite unpleasant. But otherwise, there is no clear way how can you remove it. You can't play h3 and g4. And otherwise, this pin is quite unpleasant. So starting from this moment, when black already castle long, this already very short race is going to come. So white must hurry with some active ideas on the queen side, b4, I don't know, maybe a4, b5, and black will definitely start pushing the pawns on the king side. What is your impression, Boris? There is, of course, was many such games in this similar structure. Which position would you prefer, black or white?
I think it's very concrete, but also I think from Anish's point of view, he must be happy because, okay, he was trailing by 1 point by from tournament situation. That he got a sharp fight. It's clear it will not be, so it's not solid position for black. Black has a big potential for an attack on the one side, but it's a good chance to mate. Him also, yeah, like you said, c3, b4, a4, b5. So I think I would rather take black, but hard to say.
Yeah, this is a very important point. Not only get the position which is objectively good or better, it's also important how big your chances to win this game. Maybe the position can be even worse, but you just understand that it's very hard to win this game.
Yeah, it's also about the practical approach, about in general being practical as a player.
Yes. Okay, so the show begins here. So both players started to push the pawns. c3, and this next decision of Dean Clearen, I doubt that it is good. Dina, this is very old rule. I think it was the Lasker who said that you should not move your pawns in the side of the board where you're weaker. So generally, we said that white have to push the pawns on the queen side. And that seems that it makes no sense for black to start playing on this side, on the queen side, I mean. And this is actually what Dean Clearen did. He decided to play c5, c6, trying to stop all this white's activity. I think he could try immediately start pushing the pawns on the king side. Maybe this was a more practical decision. Okay, so c5, a3, c6, b4. So this is the problem of c5 move, that after b4 it's already clash of the pawns happening. So black should be ready to meet these ideas with b takes c5, then rook b1 maybe. The idea of Dinkleren was to play bishop c7, so this is how he wanted to stop this idea. Now white can't take on c5 because the knight is hanging. Knight b3, and this is what I meant when I said that you should try to avoid moving the pawns on the same side when you are generally weaker, because all last moves was made here on the queen side, and as far as the game continues on this side, white king feels very safe, so nothing is happening on the king side.
Boris, do not hesitate to disagree, if you may, please.
No. I think whatever Ernest says, it's right. But also, play of Dinkleren has its hidden logic. Yeah, he puts the bishop on c7 when he cannot be attacked, and basically he doesn't intend to exchange. He would allow white to take on c5 and thus kind of block an attack. And what he did in the game, I think it's a very deep and great decision. Yeah, what he did. He basically sacrificed the pawn and went for a counterplay. Yeah, he understood that he cannot waste time defending his king. He has to try to make his opponent first.
Yes, the next few moves was really brilliant from Dinkleren. So first he defends c5 with knight d7, h3, bishop h5. So Giri prepared his next move, bishop e3, so stopping f5. And I think this is really a brilliant moment for Dinkleren. It is obvious that white already start attacking c5, and it looks very unnatural to take on b4, for example, opening the a file. And this is very nice that Dinkleren decided that it is time to start his counterplay. So f5 is really brilliant move. And now we see that all board is on fire. c5 is hanging, e4 is hanging. After opening the f file, knight on f3 will be under attack. Very sharp and complicated game. Frankly, when I was looking this game, I really couldn't understand what point is the most important in this position. Boris, how do you think how the player should think in this position? I mean, what is factor more important, and how to find the best move in this position?
What is the right approach?
I think this kind of position, one have to calculate. Yeah, there is no general guidelines here. But the stronger players, maybe the stronger his more inner feeling for for dynamic, which it's important here, because it's easy to get the things wrong. But if you saw a lot of attacking games or sharp games and you played them, it develops your feelings. So here, for example, I would seriously consider a move instead of f5, maybe move and try to sacrifice opponent, play f5.
Mm-hmm. What is the difference compared to what happened in the game?
I think the difference we kind of weaken e4 square, and also maybe what he did is also very interesting. It's hard to say. I think he calculated a lot at this moment and made his choice, but what I want to say is that his play was not forced. He had quite a few alternatives here.
And you also...
But alternatives on one direction, how to get attack, how to get initiative. Definitely he was not considering moves like cb4 or b6, yeah?
Yes.
Only forward.
Yes, this is very interesting idea also. The pawn from d3 defended e4, but now it is not. So this is also looks very, very promising. By the way, you played many games with all participants of the tournament, so you know them quite well. How can you describe the style of Anish Giri? What is his strengths, weaknesses?
We obviously know that he is very solid, just looking by his legendary name, King of Tros, but still... How would you describe it in your own opinion?
Well, I think it's, I would say it differently. I think he is kind of very, he has very subtle feeling for positional feeling and also good feeling for an attack. But as we saw, he has problems converting his advantage into win. When he is better, very often we saw like he hesitates and doesn't make a final punch. That's why, let's say, in the Candidates tournament in Moscow 2014, he made all draws and, you know, became a kind of a hero of a meme. But he played excellent chess, and if he will convert all his advantages, he will win the tournament. He had so many great positions. So I think he's kind of very balanced, has very balanced mixture of positional and dynamic abilities. And also what I feel that maybe he is maybe the most hard-working player in the circuit, always well prepared, a lot of opening ideas. So his good results doesn't surprise me.
And speaking about the opening ideas, you both mentioned already that Anish was indeed very much prepared. Has the opening preparation changed during the times now that we have all this technology and so on and so forth?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, absolutely. You know, I started to analyze opening when, okay, no computer existed at all, yeah? I remember I was already quite an experienced player. Okay, maybe I was already like in top 30 in the world. When I bought my first computer, which didn't have a hard disk that time.
And
we had disk and things like this.
Did it in general become harder or easier to prepare nowadays?
I think it's both harder and easier. From one point of view, a lot of games were played, so it's harder to find a really good idea. But it's easier to analyze it because we used to analyze by hand, and probably our analysis were marked by some really blunders and mistakes. And now, if you are very organized, you can analyze lines, which is really, you know, you would clearly see. You can't analyze till win or draw, but you'll see that this position is better for white, this position may be complicated, and this position is good for black, yeah. At least you will, one can cut off the trees, yeah, cut off the, you know, the sidelines, yeah. You will see that in, let's say, in some opening, maybe 3 moves are possible. Before we were thinking of 10 moves are possible, but engine would say it's not true.
Yeah, it's a really interesting process. It's quite a lot of openings which just was stopped to play on the high level, because on the high level it's already clear, you just can't play it. And also there is a new trend, we can say that it is a new trend. This is online chess right now. So after computer came to analysis part, now there is many possibility to play online. This is completely different experience. Do you invent something to your preparation, maybe some online chess, and what will be your estimation? What is good in this process? I mean, possibility to play chess online. What is wrong? So, for example, for the young players, what will be your advice? How to use this online chess?
Yeah, I think that in general that any new invention gives us possibilities, but also possibilities to go wrong, yeah? Of course, it's great that, for example, when I was young, okay, I was privileged, I was born in a big city with a lot of strong club players, yeah? Players of club level, and also even higher, yeah? But let's say, imagine you are born in a small city, no one around plays chess, there are very limited possibilities. Nowadays, online, you can challenge and play any player from any part of the world. You can take lessons from any trainer of the world. it's just a matter of, you know, your agreement. Yeah, depending on your budget, you can hire the trainers of all the levels. Also, you can play against the strongest player, and you can practice a lot. I play some training games during this. Last year, I played quite a few training matches with some my colleagues and friends. But also, I see that young players have temptation to play bullet. Yeah, to take example from big players who learn to play chess, and sometimes they, you know, enjoy playing, having fun. Yeah, and they substitute analysis and work on chess with this. Yeah, so instead of working on chess, they play numerous bullet chess, and says, hey, but Magnus does it as well. Yeah.
Yes.
But Magnus can do what he wants when he knows so much and he learns so much. But if you are, you know, club player, you have so much, or young prodigy, you have so much to learn before, rather than waste time with this. Yeah.
Do you think playing bullet is destructive for your chess?
I think it forms some qualities, like, okay, but I don't think these qualities will be useful in even in a rapid game.
And Boris,
I think even you play rapid, or you have to think. And bullet, I don't think can produce a thinking process or improve thinking process.
fair enough.
Yeah, this is. I think it's very important to understand what are you doing, what for, what do you want to get. I believe that Magnus still training and still studying chess a lot, and he plays bullets time to time. I believe that bullet is not his main time he's playing in training chess, and compared to this, it's probably very normal for him. But I agree with Boris that if a young player plays only bullet and some blitz on internet, it can be just a waste of time and bring nothing to the player. Very interesting. I also want to note that Boris is up to trend. You see, it's very deep understanding of online chess. Boris, thank you very much. It's very interesting.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, so let's come back to this game. We just
Let's go.
the heat is just started. So after a5, there is a lot of calculation required for both players, and now they need to show their skills. But I also want to mention that I have a feeling that it's not pure calculation what required in this position. We was telling that Dink Liren is very good in calculation lines. Generally, his calculation is maybe one of the top in the world. And I have a feeling that Anish is have a more accurate evaluation in generally. And I believe that the way of game show went was in favor of Anish, because this is not pure calculation, it requires also general consideration, and I believe that for him it was more natural to do this work than for Dink Liren. Okay, and also he is in good shape here. This is also was important.
Yeah, very important point.
Yes.
Okay, so after a5, bishop takes e5, and black just played queen of7. If you browse through the game, it looks like just white took a pawn with tempo and should be very happy with the position. But as we mentioned already, this pin becomes much more unpleasant. Now the queen already looking to the knight on f3. Also, don't forget that the knight is hanging on b3 suddenly. So suddenly black have many threats. And after bishop took on c5, it is very hard for white to open the lines on the queen side. So this is very smart pawn sacrifice, because now black have many threats and white don't have clear ideas on the queen side. So rook a b1 is not about attack, it's about to defending the knight, because it's for now it's not clear how the rook can be included, but it's only for now. And g5. So Dinks goes, we can say, all in. He tries attack everything, put the fire everywhere on the king side.
Boris, did you expect this move from him?
Actually, it's a good point, because honestly, at this moment, I was distracted from the game by my children. So at this point of the game, I missed. Because actually, it's the most interesting point of the game, yeah?
Yes.
Ernesto said exactly true, that it's the most ambitious move. He goes all in. Maybe if he will simply take on e4, his position will be defendable, but of course, and maybe take it here, yeah, and take on f3. Probably more or less he is out of trouble, but probably he also wanted to, you know, to win a game, yeah?
Yeah, actually, computer even think that in this position, black is better. So computer likes black's position more, so black will take on f3, take the pawn back, and will have a better pawn structure, because this pawn h3 is a bit weak, f2 pawn is weak, but this is the point, this shows the ambitions of Dean Clearen, that he is trying to keep position as complicated as possible. So this is what g5 move about. So now g4 is a threat, so white need to do something on the king side. E takes f5 is a very natural decision. g4, continue to open in the files. Knight g5, queen takes f5, and h4. It's already, we can already have a feeling that white was white had quite an unpleasant choice, so they need to be very careful to stop direct attack. So Anish find a very good way to do it, and now his perspective looks quite good, because he have a nice outpost on e4, and also he stopped the opening the lines on g4 on h4.
May I say something?
Yes, please. This is what you are here for.
Yeah, I think that probably my feeling is that Dean Clearen missed this h4 move, because
H4.
Ernesto h4, yeah, because actually it solved multi-purpose. We guarantee e4 square, we block g line. Probably if he'll see it, he will take on f5 first, maybe, and then he can never be worse. Yeah, he wants to take on f3 on c5. g4 is the next is a threat. Maybe white will have to play something like queen e4, trying to get something similar to what we just discussed.
Yes, this is very interesting. It looks like a very logical idea. Yes, because otherwise his position would be very nice. But if he missed h4, then it's absolutely different story already.
Yeah, also, Boris, now that we are here, don't hesitate to let us know if you need to go. Now, looking at the timing.
Yeah, no. I will follow this game together with you, and then I'll leave you for the next game.
Let's go then.
Okay, so next move is a serious mistake from Dean Clearen. Suddenly, probably he didn't know what to do on the king side anymore, and this is make him think about other flank. But as we already know, this is generally a wrong strategy to play on the flank when you are weaker. And after b6, he just let white many possibilities to open the side, and we can see that this pawn is weak now. And after b6, it's already quite bad for black. But what Giri did is also excellent decision. So he just sacrificed the bishop. He ready to sacrifice the bishop to open in the lines. He played knight e4. I like this move very much. Even computer says that there is another better options, but I like this move very much, because now white wants to enter the black's position with knight d6, and also knight on e4 is now on the excellent position. And after knight e4, this is very challenging situation for black. What Dean did looks very logical. He decided to take the bishop, but after that, this is just put the water on the white's position, and attack becoming stronger and stronger after b takes e5. I have a question, Boris. In such situations, when from Dean Clearen's side, it is already quite clear that things is going wrong. What should be the psychological point? How the player should act in this situation? What should he think? How he should play in general? This is already difficult position, so how it should be played?
Yeah, positions are difficult. Option 94, I agree with you. It's like such a stylish move, yeah? Like this knight gets this ideal square. And for black now, I think here already such strong player like Tingliren already understood that things are going wrong. But only thing he can do here, mid position is objectively lost. I think there are two things he has to do to keep composure, trying to, not to collapse, but to look for the best moves, and also trying to see maybe to give white choice, because if white will be allowed to play by natural moves, he will win. So the best chance maybe, to go for positions where white has a multiple choice, so he can spend time on it or go wrong, things like this.
Okay. So he decided to play as risky as possible, to make the position as complicated as possible, but after b takes c5, Anish simply take on c5, and now we can see that suddenly this rook become the strongest piece in the position. And also d4 is a terrible threat. Queen will come to a6, so it's already clear way how white can mate suddenly. It looks like it came from nowhere, but actually this is Tingliren who made this possible with his b6 and b takes c5. So after knight f6, knight d6 is a very accurate decision. Bishop takes, rook takes, and we see now that black's king is alone. After d4, it's already no way to defend it. The attack is just unstoppable. So the game continued with c5 with the idea to protect a6, but then after simple knight takes c5, rook e8, queen c4, here is just too many threats, starting from queen b4 with the idea of queen b8 or queen b7, also with a lot of discovered checks, knight b7, and it's just not possible to defend anymore. Very bright finish of the game, with sacrifice, with very speed attack. So what do you think about Giri's play so far in this tournament? His shape?
No, I think, first of all, I think that this game would go to all the manuals on attacking chess and on tactical textbooks. Really impressive game. I think Anish came really fresh and prepared. Also, during Vaikanzel, he had chance to play offline event, and he tied for first in Vaikanzel, was very close to win. And he won online event. He's really, I think, reached a good form. Also prepared new openings like Sveshnikov for this tournament. He used twice already. And with white in both games, he had some kind of interesting ideas, which he managed to put problems to his opponents, to both Chinese players, and then to convert them. He is really playing well. Tomorrow is a really important game for him. He plays black with Fabiano, also who still in contention for the first place. Will be a big game, but Anish maybe is the most impressive player of these 4 rounds. Definitely, the most impressive.
Yes, this is really impressive performance from Anish so far. Also, this is very interesting, Boris. You reached the top of the chess in quite young ages, and also you keep moving forward, developing as a chess player for the many years, and also you reached the top, the World Championship match at 46. Can you compare the players, your development when you was 20, when you was 30, you was 40? How can you describe the developing of a player, compare the years? How do you feel it?
Yeah, it's thank you, and I think I developed, first like till 20, everyone develops, naturally, yeah? But then when you reach certain level, it's the higher you go, the harder it's to make next step forward. And I think I was moved by my curiosity, yeah, because You know, I'm very curious about few things like chess games and improving, self-improving. I was constantly thinking what I do wrong, why the things I do, which brought me success a few years ago, doesn't bring me success now. All the things. Also, try to reevaluate my attitude to chess. Maybe certain years I played too direct, certain years maybe too passive, too cautious. And I always try to analyze it and to take lessons from each game I played and from each tournament, and that's why I managed to keep on top and go higher for so many years. Until now, okay, each day, you know, I am analyzed, I am amazed by richness of chess, and each day I find some really new thing in chess. Yeah, I analyze some positions, both end games, openings, or middle game. Yeah.
Yes, it's truly amazing your passion to the chess truth, to the chess work. This is I want to admire that you influenced many generations of the players with being such a deep thinker. And especially I want to thank you for this. You definitely was one of the players who inspired me and influenced it on my style of play.
Thank you, thank you.
Yes, so
Thank you.
it was a big pleasure to analyze the game with you, to talk with you, to listen to your thoughts. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for inviting me. Good luck, and hope to see you soon on some over-the-board events.
Yes, yes.
In person.
Have a good evening.
Have a good evening. Goodbye.
Bye.
And goodbye
Bye.
to all our viewers.
Goodbye.
That was the winner of the Candidates Tournament 2011. Such a great honor for us, such an amazing guest, Grandmaster Boris Gelfand. Yeah, that was pretty interesting. The thing that I liked the most was when he said that now the preparation, the way it is both harder and easier, and it is mostly the matter of how you approach it. If you are organized enough, you can make the grade of it. And I guess this is the biggest, one of the biggest pieces of advice I can take out from this moment.
Yes, and I also enjoy to have a Boris today because I really feel his love to chess. I can talk with him hours about chess, and if you know that he is deep in all what he's saying, even online chess, this is very deep opinion, not just, you know, don't play blitz or play blitz. No, he said you can do it, but there is a lot of details how you can make it work, or maybe how you shouldn't do it. So for me, it's very deep, and this passion to chess I like the most in Boris.
Indeed,
Okay.
and now let's take a look at the standings of the tournament.
Yes, after today's round, the fight for the first place became much more tense. Now it's already only half-point lead for Jan Nepomniachtchi. He had 7 points ahead of Anish Giri.
I have to admit, I'm surprised to see Anish in the second position, the clear second position.
Why?
I don't know. It was such a race between three different players just yesterday. Well, in the day before yesterday, since yesterday was a 3-day, and now we have the clear second. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that gives him more confidence.
Yeah, that's true. And so far, his games is very nice. So what he's doing is looks very confident, and he was winning with white and making a draw with black. So if we just forget that we had a first lap of the event, then he would be the sole leader of the second part, because no one won 2 games here, as far as I remember. Yes, and on the third position we have Fabiano Caruana, 1 point behind the leader Jan Nepomniachtchi and half point behind the Anish Giri.
Yes, and the position number 4, which is pretty surprising. Alexander GRISCHUK.
Yes, he's sharing this place with Maxim Varshay-Lagrave. Yes, and this is very nice to have Alexander in the winners of the games, because the confidence is very important for the chess player. After he winning a game, he feels that he can be the best player in the world, and now he can beat anyone with any colors. And also, I should admit that Alexander tried to play very complicated games from the beginning. In every his game, there was sacrifices, some very complicated positions, and of course, time troubles.
Yeah, I heard on one of his press conferences, he mentioned that he was pretty upset that some of the commentators described his game against Van Hau as the most boring game of the round, and yet here we go, he did sacrifice a queen to amuse the audience.
Yes, according to his positions, what he get, he definitely can be described as the most interesting player so far, because many complications and very interesting games. So maybe this what is his motivation right now, but soon he can be the fighter for the first place.
Definitely. And I suggest let us take a look at the other game of the round, which is talking about GRISCHUK, game of GRISCHUK versus MVL.
Yes, this was also a very sharp game. I also want to mention that it's not only about Maxim losing his games and chances fighting for the win in the tournament. This is also about strategy, because as we mentioned already, Maxim choosing the most sharp possible opponent with black pieces. He plays neither system of Sicilian defense and also Grunfeld defense. This is the most sharp lines in chess in general. And maybe this strategy is not really working well right now on the top level. So it's not only about the players losing his games. This is also the fight of strategies, because the players prepared differently for the tournament, and this strategy, at least Maxim cannot show that this is correct way to play right now against top players.
Definitely agree with you.
Okay, so let's go to the board. Alexander decided to surprise Maxim. He chose the silent lines, starting with knight c3.
This is something I really keen on. First of all, knight c3, Sicilian knight c3. So to be the close Sicilian is one of my favorites since more than a year now. Yeah, since the lockdown, I had a lot of pleasure. I had a very nice experience playing it online, and I even beat it two very strong players offline over the board with this knight c3. Right now I have a truly amazing collection with it, and yeah, I find it super fun to play this way, because most Sicilian players are not that ready for this knight c3. I don't know, it's okay, it's supposed to be, I mean, it's known to be equal, but somehow I can feel that they are frustrated, I mean black, when black faces knight c3. Being a Sicilian player feels frustrated with this knight c3. What do you think about it?
I didn't play it with white, so this is interesting. But how do you think why they are frustrated? What goes wrong for them?
Sicilian players are looking for some fight, for sharp lines, for normal approach, and here white decides to go with a system way, you know, especially when it starts with later on with f4, g3, bishop g2, d3, like kind of a system. You do 20 moves in a row, same moves that you do every time, and black needs to be more creative than usual, if you see what I mean.
Yes, I have this reminds me a story when I played once against Vladimir Kramnik. You know, there was a game at that moment when he very rarely played e4. So he played e4 with me, and at that moment I didn't play Sicilian at all. So after taking a thought about 3 minutes, I played c5. Then he fell into soft thoughts after move 1 already and played b3.
Oh, this one is also nice.
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
Same story.
Generally, the problem of blacks, especially when you play such a sharp line as Najdorf, you need to remember a lot of complicated variations.
That's true.
You have no idea how many hours they spent just repeating the lines. Because if you just forget it, what happens in move 20 or 21. I want to remind you the game Maxim against Fabiano Caruana. Do you remember
Bishop C4.
these crazy positions? And Maxim repeating these lines more or less regularly, maybe before every game. And there is plenty of such variations in Najdorf. So he comes prepared, he remembers all these complications, and suddenly someone plays just knight c3.
This is what I mean by saying frustrated.
Yes, and he feels like...
and
yes.
this one, please bear with me on this one. D4 is a very new.
It's still uncommon decision. Actually, there was a discussion more than 200 years ago, started with Paul Morphy and Paulsen. So just let me briefly show what was it. So Paul Morphy said that the best strategy here would be to put the knight on d4 after playing d4. So this is nowadays the main line.
The main theory.
Yeah, the main theory of the Sicilian defense. This is how it started. And Louis Paulsen was saying that c3 is the best strategy
The
here.
Latin line.
Yes,
Okay.
and to put maximum number of pawns in the center. So, okay, after 200 of years, we know which strategy become better. But this one, what Grischuk plays, is completely new approach, because you don't put the knight on d4, you don't put the pawns on d4.
You do not fight for the center, so
Yes,
to be.
and it looks like you are losing the tempos, because after d6, d4, c takes d4, queen takes d4, knight c6, you have to go back with your queen.
This is actually against all the rules, because one says never bring your queen out in the opening because it will get attacked, and
Yes.
then you will have to lose some tempi. And this is what happens here. And the thing that I wanted to mention is that this is also the line that I experienced recently, and I started analyzing it, and I started even playing it online. And I kind of enjoyed it, and I was sure no one would ever play it. And here we go.
Yes.
Round 11, the candidates tournament. Alexander Grischuk plays this line.
Yes, it's very surprising to see this line in candidate tournaments. Actually, Magnus Carlsen played it already against Radoslav Wojtaszek, so this is line already have been playing on a top level. But in a such important event, this is of course very unexpected choice. So the positional point of this line is that still white have a space advantage. e4 pawn is better than the d6 pawn, and it is quite obvious that black cannot use this waste of time with queen d4, queen d2, and black need just to finish the development and nothing else. So g6 is this is all theory. Bishop h6, trying to use this awkward position on the queen. f4, knight f6, bishop b2. e5, and here quite interesting moment. Grischuk played knight g2 e2, and unexpectedly this is a novelty.
Yes, I was totally surprised, because in my games I prepared g3, and I remember this being the main line of the computer, but I guess it was not such a deep analysis as the one of Alexander Grischuk, which by the way was proven in the game.
Yes, I still not sure that knight g2 is better than g3, but in such important game, in such sharp line, it's very important to come up with novelty first. This will be uncomfortable for your opponent, because he don't know how deep your preparation, and this is also will give you advantage, because you know which moves are good, which moves are bad, and for your opponent it will be just a clear blank, so he need to find the moves himself. So
I'm also curious how much his opponent Maxim was surprised after this queen takes d4, queen d2. I mean, obviously he knows that the line exists, and obviously he didn't expect it, but the level of his surprise really intrigues me.
I want to say that it is very difficult to read anything on the player's face.
Yeah,
Did
they
you
keep the
not
poker
notice?
face. No
Yes.
emotions. And this is why they are there. This is why they are professionals and they are the candidates.
Yeah, I think if you can't make a poker face, you just should not come to this place.
Well, there are some players who do show a lot of emotions, and Jan Nepomniachtchi, by the way, is a good example of a person who really shows his emotions on the board. But that doesn't stop him from being the sole leader.
Yes, this is part of his strategy, I guess. Okay, so let's see what happened in the game. So Castle is very logical for both sides. Bishop e6, king b1. This looks very natural. So what this position is about? White need to attack the black king, and black need to attack the white king. With the bishop on b2, the position of the white king looks very solid. But also we see that because of this slightly slow development of the white pieces, black gets a very active position for their pieces. They are very aggressive setup, and when I saw this position online, I had a feeling that maybe black will have a chance to get an initiative. But frankly speaking, this position is about equal, and it very much depends on how the players will proceed in the next few moves. F5 is a possible setup. E4 I like very much. This is stacks the queen side.
It's a pure strategical answer, like fixing this weakness on b5 and making it almost impossible to open up these files, which would be needed to attack from black side.
So queen b6, h4, and this is actually the critical moment of the game. It's not really clear what white wants right now, but every move is important. And what Maxim did, rook c8, looks very natural. He just continued developing the pieces, but actually it was already time for him to start some actions. He should not waste the time. I think the best would be to play knight g4 immediately, with the idea to use these weaknesses, so f2, e3, and actually it's not a big pleasure for white to play this position.
Yeah, it's pretty annoying. I have to agree with you.
White have to play rook c1 actually.
Oh, this one is not human at all.
Yes, instead of attacking the
like
d6 pawn,
you take the rook from the open file and you put it just in front of the pawn.
Yeah, the rook is just running from the knight, you know. Otherwise, the knight will just attack it. And here, black have different options. Surprisingly, it's not lead to advantage for black, but anyway, I would prefer black to play here. For example, I like move queen e3. It looks very interesting, very promising. And in this situation, white is the side who should find the moves to keep equality.
To equalize, right?
Yes. So after he played rook a8, GRISCHUK showed that in this position you can't waste your time. He played h5. This is absolutely a correct and accurate move. Knight take h5 and then just g3. So he protected f4, and now his rook is very active on h file.
A very typical pawn sacrifice in order to attack to open the file.
Yes, when the kings are on the opposite sides, you should not count the pawns, you should try to open the files. This is much more important in these situations. So after this, Maxim tried to start some counterplay. Bishop h3. We already see how the situation changed. So both black pieces is on the side right now. So black don't have enough counterplay in the center. Also, the c file is just closed, so black can't really attack on the queen side.
Even if c2 is a target, there is no real danger for it. As you mentioned, the knight on c3 is defended 3 times. Indeed, I guess one shouldn't be a grandmaster here in order to understand that black position is pretty dangerous.
Yes, it's dangerous, and also white have a clear ideas. After rook h1, already sacrifices will start, and the black don't have such a clear idea what to do. So this was pretty tough moment for Maxim, and he tried to complicate the position. So to defend first, bishop g7, but this is led GRISCHUK to push the pawns forward, g4. It is not really advisable to take now on f4, so he have to go back.
I guess it's enough for black. At some point, he should stop grabbing all those pawns.
Yeah, actually, this is not a refutation, but white can simply take everything, and all other moves are coming. So rook h1, and it will be very hard to protect h7 pawn. So it's quite simple refutation of this idea. So Maxim tries to keep the lines as close as possible, so he just plays knight f6, but then pawn goes with tempos. So now we already can feel.
Amazing f5. Yeah, I know the knight on h5 is not comfortable at all.
Yes, now it's already quite clear that white have a big advantage here. So with such a pawns g5, f5, and with a knight on h5, it's clearly promising position for white. Okay, so rook fd8, f6, bishop f8. So
Feels horrible.
yes, such a unpleasant soldier close to the king is always
It's like an outpost. It's even stronger than an outpost. It's even stronger than the piece in the opponent's camp. It is a pawn that blocks all the pieces, absolutely all the pieces of black. Yes, well, surprisingly, black still managed to continue. I mean, it's not just over, like over. So let's see what happened after. Knight g3, d5, and there was a move somewhere here in this position that actually made it feel that black was holding. Rook d4, as far as I remember. Let us show this moment. Rook h5, yes, somewhere here when we look at this position, we already thought that it was over, but in fact that wasn't that clear.
Yeah, I just want to show this moment. So what is happening? GRISCHUK prepared just killing trap for the Maxim. He prepared everything to sacrifice on h5, and after that it will be just over. Immediately it doesn't work because Maxim have the check, rook d1, changing the last rook.
Yes.
So this is a problem. And here the slow moves, quiet moves are coming. So king a2. So he prepared for this sacrifice. And actually even queen takes h5 is possible at some moment. So for example, if black would play rook d2 here, then queen takes h5 is enough. Both rook h5 and queen takes h5 is winning.
Shall we
we can
show this one? It's a nice one. So you attack the queen, and in fact the move here is rook takes h5, and you do not care about your queen, because if you take it, then there is a mate in one, and well, black has to take on h5, you take with the queen and you mate.
Yes, so
very nice.
This looks like already mate will come in any case, but Maxim found the defense, unexpected defense. Rook d1, rook takes h5, rook takes h5. So now white have two threats, so queen e4 is quite unpleasant, and also queen h2 is and suddenly, Maxim found this rook d4. This is brilliant defense. Absolutely the only move to avoid the mate. So what is the point? First, black protected e4 square, so queen e4 is no longer possible. But if white played queen h2, then suddenly rook takes a4 works, helps to survive the game.
B takes.
Queen d5, queen e6, yes.
Yeah, both possible. King b1, and now rook d1, bishop c1, queen b6. King a2, just a line to show you that there is a perpetual here. Black has all the way to make it a draw, unfortunately for white. So yeah, this is something that you might have mis-evaluated as white. And this is why rook d4 is that strong here. I really enjoyed this moment. And as far as I remember, it was somewhere here that we both kind of lost a hope in GRISCHUK and thought that MVL was already about to make a draw.
Yes, first of all, black have an extra rook. This is one reason. And the second reason is when the player misses something in such a sharp situation, it's usually a sign that the things goes wrong and further mistakes are coming.
It was a very critical psychological moment for GRISCHUK to calm down and to continue pushing, even though there was something he didn't see.
Yes. So he continued. Rook h1 is a nice idea. So once again, he wants to go queen h5 or queen h2. Rook takes h4. White can't take on a4 because of queen d5.
Yeah, and then there is a double attack. Let us show this one on the rook.
Yes.
And on the king.
So after king b1, queen d5. Now white have no way to avoid this queen sacrifice, because if white need to keep the rook on the h file, it's quite obvious, otherwise there wouldn't be any mate threats. But if you protect the rook, this is what happened in the game.
There's queen h1.
And this is let Maxim to survive, to avoid the forced mate. And basically, this kind of material situation, when black have two rooks and white have a queen, is equal. This is balanced. But GRISCHUK still have a much better king position. Black's king is still in danger, and this is actually what was the most decisive thing in the game. Let us briefly show what happened after. So they continue to exchange the pawns. Yes, you cannot take on e5 because of check, queen g2 check, and then queen...
And then we lose, yeah, the rook is hanging. Yeah, this one is also nice. Yeah, well, it's all about calculation. So right, he couldn't take this pawn, so in the game, it happened. Queen takes b7, rook d2, bishop c3, rook e2, queen c8, rook g1, king b2, rook gg2, bishop takes a5, and we can already see that the position is almost over. I guess this is the final situation before it was already over after rook takes c2.
Yes, so they went to this endgame. For the moment, it looks like there is a few chances to survive, but Grischuk took his time, calculated it correctly, and managed to convert this position to win.
You said he took his time, which surprisingly he had on his clock, because normally it's not the case.
Yes, so very interesting, dynamic, and very fighting game. Unfortunately for Maxim, he got under pressure very quickly after the opening, so he didn't manage to find a way to get initiative. And later on, Grischuk played just a very nice and very impressive game. I like the way how he sacrificed the pawn, and this g4, g5, f5. It was very dynamic, very energetical, and absolutely nice and good win for Grischuk. And we have another player who showed that finally he's fighting his way of playing, his power.
Yeah, I really enjoy that moment when the players who were not supposed to be on the lead are taking down the current leaders.
Yes, so let's take a look what games we will have tomorrow.
Let's look at the pairings of the round 12.
Yes. Okay, so...
as far as we remember, Fabiano Caruana will be facing Anish Giri.
Yes, and this is supposed to be the game of the round, because Fabiano will have white pieces, and definitely he needs the win to come back to the race. At the same time, this is a good chance for Anish, because he also needs the wins to coach Jan Nepomniachtchi. And if Fabiano will play too risky, this definitely will give a chances to Anish. And also, as we already mentioned, these two players showed good play in the first rounds, and we expect a very interesting and high quality game for tomorrow.
Definitely. The next pairing will be Ding Liren versus Alexander Grischuk. Well, once again, we shall expect a really sharp clash of the characters, of the styles. Ding Liren is pretty relaxed. He doesn't have anything to lose. And same goes for Alexander Grischuk, who is, I suppose, after today's day, is pretty motivated and is looking for some fresh blood.
Yes, I would expect tomorrow very risky game from both. Yes, Ding Liren maybe don't have in his mind that he will win the tournament, but after today's loss, definitely he will be very angry, and with white pieces, he will try his best. And of course, Grischuk, finally, when he won such a nice game, he will feel powerful and also will try to surprise his opponent. So we expect a very interesting and risky fight from both players.
The game number 3 will be between Maxim Vachier-Lagrave with white pieces versus Kirill ALEKSEENKO. This one will be pretty curious to see. Maxim has already lost 2 games in this second part of the tournament. Will he be able to get himself back in a shape and overcome this difficult psychological situation for any sportsman?
This is definitely the best chance for Maxim to overcome, because Kirill so far played only 1 game with black, and he lost this game to Nepomniachtchi, and also Vachier had 3 games with black, and this is his chance to finally not to be the defensive side, but to be the side who will improve his position and get initiative out of the opening.
Indeed, and the final pairing of the round 12, which will happen tomorrow, is between Van Hao and Jan Nepomniachtchi. once again, we shouldn't underestimate the importance of the game of the current leader of the event.
Yes, now every day when we will talk about Jan, we always will think about his psychological mood, because he's the leader and it feels like that he already can keep it, can save it. It looks like that the victory is very close, but it is absolutely not so. He still have to play 3 rounds, and I should remind you that all players here, they qualified from the very strict conditions. So Van Houwen has also had an extremely good tournament in Isle of Man, and at any moment, all of these players can just play a brilliant game and beat anyone. So tomorrow, I don't think it will be easy game for Jan.
Yes, neither do I.
Yes, so this is the
All
day.
for today, yeah,
This is all
I
for
guess.
today. Today we discussed the 11th round of the Candidates tournament. Very exciting day. I'm very glad to talk with Boris today and to have such interesting and exciting games.
Yeah, that was the myth, the guest. It was a total honor to have him on our show. And yeah, so make the right move by joining us tomorrow, same time, same place. And by the way, tomorrow we'll be joined by some also very special guests. We'll have 2 guests, unlike the previous days. The first one is one of the most creative contributors to chess theory. And the other one is a successful chess player who also built an amazing career in politics. Well, she became a minister.
So interesting.
We shall keep this like this. Do not mention the names because you will anyway find them out on our thumbnails. Please.
Yes, so don't forget to put like, to subscribe, and join us tomorrow.
Same time, same place. Thank you. Bye-bye.